Hey you guys, give me just 1 second. I'm over here placing Alka-Seltzer Plus orders for Joe Biden because after that debate, I would have all types of chest pains and heartburn. Yeah, just send hello. Just send everything you have over, invoice it later. It's Friday or Saturday, depending on if YouTube wants to cooperate with me. That's why you need to go on patreon.com/AdrianExpression. You get literally the content as soon as it's ready, no matter what YouTube ass is doing. So yes, either Friday or Saturday when you're seeing this. The week is over. It's time for the weekend. We're here to talk. Like I said, on Patreon, I just wrote an article that the patrons voted on. The topic of it was basically discussing why it seems like the cast of Pose did not get an invite to the BET Awards, and it speaks about the realities of being black and LGBT at the same time. It's almost like you can't fit in either one of the overall communities because of either your skin color in the LGBT community or your orientation in the black community. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go to patreon.com/AdrianExpression and sign up. So I'm going to talk about just a few topics really quickly before we get into the highlights of this really crazy Democratic debate the past 2 days. So first, 50 years ago today, or at least when I'm recording this, the Stonewall riots started. Now this was a very pivotal moment when it comes to the fight for LGBT rights and LGBT voices. It was led by black trans women, black drag queens. It was a clash against the police, and you can see why, beyond the obvious reasons why a lot of the LGBT community is just like, girl, no cops at Pride. We had issues with y'all in the past, and we have it with y'all in the present. Yeah, if that's something that you're unfamiliar with, I suggest that you look it up and really dive into what was sacrificed, how many people had to sacrifice it just for us to be recognized in the way that we are right now, even though it needs a lot of improvement. But it opened a lot of doors. So before I really get into this one story that is a result from the obnoxious policing that's going on in Alabama, I wanted to talk about this movie about niggas fighting back against the police. It's supposed to be coming out November 27th. It's called Queen and Slim, and when I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, girl, what is this? Like, I saw police lights, I saw a black man and a black woman get pulled over. I was like, girl, this story again. But then the trailer went on, and Slim, who's played by Daniel, our good sis from Black Panther, all that shit, and the actress, her name is Jodie Smith. Slim ended up shooting the cop that pulled him over. I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, this is a completely different story. What's going on? So I don't know. I just decided to go ahead and tell y'all about that just because the plot seems to be so different from the other movies that we're so used to seeing on the screen all the time. And like I said, also because I'm about to talk about this crazy case, Marshae Jones. She's a 27-year-old black woman from Birmingham, Alabama, who got shot outside of a dollar store, and because of that, her unborn child ended up dying. The shooter did not get indicted, but she ended up getting indicted. You can look this story up. It is actually extremely scary to me. She ended up getting indicted for the loss of her unborn child because someone else decided to take a gun and shoot her ass. Now, of course, if you dive deeper in the story, you'll have people defending this decision because there's investigations claiming that she was the one who started this altercation with another person, and because of that, the other person was forced to go get their gun and shoot her ass. And it's just like, this is how the slippery slope starts. And like many people have noticed and pointed out, it's just like they do these types of shit first with people they think, and they know will not be valued as much by media, by society. They start with black women, and they push it to see how far they can get away with this shit. And the more and more this type of language is legitimized, the more and more women are going to end up becoming just like the woman in Handmaid's Tale. They're just supposed to be incubators. You're not supposed to go to the grocery store if you're pregnant, because what if you slip and fall, and then now that's your fault, and now you go to jail. It's just the slippery slope. It's very important when you're talking about this shit, especially politically. That's why so many minorities can see into the future when some of these politicians propose policies in the present, because we've seen what happens. We've seen the arguments that are used to legitimize dehumanization. So I'm tired of it. Please look that story up if anyone at all is watching this and can help not only that woman, but I'm sure that there are going to be so many more cases like this coming out of Alabama, especially these types of states who have these ridiculously restrictive rules and laws on abortion. So I watched a mixture of very large chunks from each day of the debates, and also I watched highlights. Here are some of my highlights and my takeaways. Joe Biden, you got your ass toasted and dragged from beginning to goddamn end. I'm talking about from the rooter to the goddamn tutor, you got your ass roasted. I think Eric Swalwell, who basically nobody knows about, even had a chance to drag you with that pass the torch rhetoric. He used your own words against you. He said, when I was 6 years old, a presidential candidate came here talking about we gotta pass the torch to the next generation. And he was just like, girl, so what's the tea with your life alert needing ass? Like, you need to go ahead and just pass that damn torch. And Joe Biden's like, girl, I'm still holding on to this torch. Now, before I get even further into Miss Joe Biden, there have been leaks coming out of his campaign saying that that man did not stick to the script. He's just doing doing whatever he wants and he's just stuck in his ways. And I'm sitting over here like, oh, I could have told y'all ass that just by the dumb shit he was saying to, you know, press, side comments and shit to the news station. Like, y'all couldn't see it coming? Y'all didn't see that shit? And so now I'm wondering where Simone Sanders is at. Before this debate, she was very loud, very, you know, outspoken, trying to defend this man who did not have the same vigor defending black ass motherfuckers like her. And it's just like, sis, where are all the comments now? Where are the slick ass tweets? What's going on? The camp said they are unhappy with that shit. Let me tell you, somebody else who was also unhappy with Joe Biden was Kamala Harris. Now let me tell you something. I don't know what you believe or what you think about it, but my prerogative, my statement is that there's not a bone in my body that trusts Kamala Harris, on period. You know what I mean? On impeachment. But given the fact that I do not trust Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, it was quite entertaining to see Joe Biden call Kamala Harris a whole ass cop, a whole ass prosecutor, like, girl, your ass locking people up. While Kamala Harris was saying, girl, I ain't saying that you're a racist, but sis, you racist as fuck. That exchange was entertaining. It was also very ironic and entertaining to see Kamala Harris be so passionate about, oh my God, how could you lock kids up? When she, you know, I'm not gonna say anything else other than you need to go ahead and research her past when it comes to her being a prosecutor. You need to research her past when it comes to her defending corrupt officials. That's all I'm saying. Go do your own research, come to your own conclusions. But I just thought that part was extremely ironic. I guess I won't take away from her the fact that she can read and drag when it comes to these types of debates. But when it's, like I said, when it comes to her trustworthiness, she's definitely found wanting in my spirit and my soul. There was one comment really quickly that Kristen, I don't even know her story or name, but Kristen made, and she was just like, it's capitalism versus greed, and we just really have to figure that shit out. I'm just like, sis, capitalism and greed is the same shit. What do y'all, whatever. I'll go back to Joe Biden really quickly. He was asked about his comments on the rich. He said that we don't need anybody's quality of life to go down. We don't need anything to change. Nothing would fundamentally change when it comes to, I think I've said this before, when it comes to the economic structure of this goddamn country. He was asked about that shit. All he did was pivot to Donald Trump. He pivoted. There's a lot of pivoting going on, like we was about face. You see what I'm saying? It was a lot of pandering. Speaking of pandering, Beto, sis, you got your ass toasted, roasted, and I'm talking about dragged and bagged and tagged. When it came to you trying to speak that gringo ass Spanish, no shade, honey. Matter of fact, all types of shade. I mean, I studied Spanish from the end of my middle school up until the beginning of my college education. I'm talking about during high school, I had to write essays in Spanish like it was English. Do you hear what I'm saying? So when I heard Beto come out here with this broken and wannabe token ass, gringo ass Spanish, sis, I said, oh girl, no, I cringed my way through that whole thing. And what was the most disrespectful about that pandering and any type of pandering that has gone on in the Democratic Party and will continue to go on, because I see it every goddamn day. What was the most disrespectful is the fact that it really represented how these Democrats pander, because he was asked a specific question about the specific percentage of the tax rate that he would tax, I think it was the rich in this country, and he didn't answer that question about that specific tax rate in either language. So when we're talking about pandering, that's what I'm talking about. I put up some examples on Twitter. For example, it's when your ass is over here holding and waving around the gay flag and your ass is still accepting cash from anti-gay organizations. You see what I'm saying? When your performance outweighs and has more substance than the actual plans and solutions that you have for that community that you're over here tap dancing for, just don't do it. Don't go to that black-owned establishment that you just heard about 10 minutes ago from your assistant. Don't do it. We won't believe. Just go ahead and present a plan that we can inspect and debate about, and that's all you have to do. Stop with this pandering bullshit. God damn. Sis spoke that not even Spanish 1. I'm talking about beginner Spanish. Unseasoned ass Spanish, girl. Like, it's not necessary. Let Castro, who, by the way, he's surprised everybody came out here and dragged the shit out of Beto's ass now. But that's what I'm saying. How the fuck you over here trying to impress people by speaking in Spanish with a question that had nothing to do with no type of Spanish? Trying to impress people, but then Julian Castro has to roast your ass talking about you don't want to eliminate Section 1352, which criminalizes the adult immigrants when they come over here from the United States, but does not do that shit to the children. And that is the exact section that this administration is using to take kids away from their children. So why are you over here speaking Spanish and shit, not wanting to do away with that section? Now, of course, I did some research and it would not be as simple as just getting rid of that section. They would have to go and make some changes within the Immigration and Nationality Act if they really wanted to get something done. But the idea that a lot of people on that stage, including Beto, just did not see what Castro was talking about is already alarming. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want to see none of these old white men on the stage, and that's just on period. I don't want to see it. Joe Biden, take your ass home. I mean, y'all white male asses is so rich, sit your asses down, enjoy the rest of your life, and let us figure out how we gonna navigate through this fucked up ass society. Bernie Sanders, sweetie, so I'm not interested. I promise you I'm not interested. Someone who I'm interested in maybe smoking a fat ass blunt with, going to brunch with, is Miss Marianne Williamson. I don't know what edible she was on. I don't know. Let me tell you something. She seems like a cool person. Like, she seems really fucking cool. Like, she was entertaining, but sis said, I mean, no question was talking about New Zealand whatsoever. Sis came out of nowhere with New Zealand talking about, I saw the Prime Minister of New Zealand. She said, New Zealand's gonna be the best place to raise a child. And I told her, your girlfriend, you're so on. I said, what am I watching right now? I don't know about sis being president, but I do know that I do want to go get some mimosas with that good sis. She was just over here talking about, yeah, everybody talking about plans, but we need to solve this situation with love. I was like, oh girl, we don't need love right now, we need to fight. But you know, I love your spirit and energy, sis. It's really cool, it's really awesome, but it really seems like whoever your plug is, baby, girl, what's going on? I'm on some of that shit. What's up? Like, I mean, she even brought up a good point about, like, yeah, we're over here talking about this immigration problem, but are we addressing the part that we're playing, the part that our country is playing, meddling into other countries' business, making situations worse, and thus creating more refugees? Like she said, we need to analyze that part. Elizabeth Warren, to me, is one of the stronger candidates. I think that Andrew Yang, I would have liked to hear more of what he's talking about. I think Castro surprised everybody and has presented himself as a strong candidate. I feel like I need to do a lot more research on all of them just to make sure I'm making the best decision. I would encourage all of you to do the same. The big issues are definitely going to be healthcare, basically like care for all and eliminating private, or giving the option of private but making universal healthcare more attractive. It's gonna be immigration. Andrew Yang, like I said, he brought up automation and AI and technology taking away certain jobs and what we're gonna do about that. They also talked about threats to the United States, geopolitical threats, and those ranged from nukes to climate change to China to Russia. So it's just like all over the place. So yeah, all we can do is really keep our eye open, make sure to do our research, understand when these politicians are pandering to us, kissing our asses instead of presenting us with actual policy and with actual plan. But yeah, on that note, I feel like I've been rambling way too much. Please let me know what you think about the candidates and the debates in the comments if you watched it. And on that note, I'm gonna go ahead and hit up Marianne Williamson's plug so that I can have a good goddamn evening. Hello, yeah, I'm trying to be zooted like Marianne. What's up?